Hi, I'm Antonio Mora. Ben Franklin was wrong. There are three things that are certain in life: death, taxes, and that American cities will do poorly on rankings of the best places to live in the world. Poorly, of course, is relative. Cities in the developing world do much worse. The Economist's much-watched Global Livability Index 2019 has determined that Vienna, Austria is the world's most livable city, followed closely by perennial contender Melbourne, Australia. Cities down under and way up north do especially well. In fact, with Sydney and Adelaide, Australia has 3 cities in the top 10. So does Canada, with Calgary, Vancouver, and Toronto. Osaka, Tokyo, and Copenhagen complete the list. 8 Northern European cities made the top 20, but not a single American city did, with Honolulu the highest ranked at 22. Atlanta, Pittsburgh, Seattle, and DC were the only other American cities in the top 40, with Chicago and Miami just missing out. The Economist's index and other prestigious city rankings are often dismissed as simply reflecting the compiler's taste, worldview, and prejudices, the product of snobby elites. To a great extent, that's right. People with European ancestry are disproportionately represented among those who put these lists together. And among that set of people, I don't doubt for a second that it's probably not cool to be a fan of American cities. Also, diversity seems to be a handicap that could hurt cities in the US. Most of the top cities on these lists tend toward the homogeneous, mostly white or mostly Asian. Toronto and Vancouver are the rare exceptions. And good luck finding a city from Latin America, Africa, or Southern Asia anywhere in the upper reaches of these rankings. All of the cities deemed least livable are from those regions. To nobody's surprise, Damascus, Syria is the world's worst, and Caracas, Venezuela is the least livable in the Americas. To be fair, the Economist's index takes a scientific approach, looking at more than 30 factors, focusing on quality of healthcare, education, infrastructure, stability, and culture. Most of those aren't subjective. As a result, the index is dominated by medium-sized cities in wealthy countries, places with populations between 1 and 3 million, a seeming sweet spot between overcrowded and underdeveloped. That may be another reason the US doesn't do so well. In studies that look specifically at US cities, smaller places such as Madison, Wisconsin, Rochester, Minnesota, Arlington, Virginia, and Boulder, Colorado do far better than their bigger brethren. In the US studies, cities that are ethnically diverse also tend not to do well. The few exceptions, including Chicago, Miami, Dallas, and Charlotte, are not near the top of the lists. In the end, much of this probably doesn't matter much to the average person, who will have his or her own criteria as to what is livable. Living in your hometown may be far more important than anything else. If you love the beach, you might not care that your city doesn't have much culture. But if you're into opera and ballet, New York's high taxes, expensive real estate, and threat of terrorism won't keep you away. The bad news from the Economist survey is that the threat of terrorism or environmental concerns, including increased pollution, have hurt the livability of a number of major cities, including Paris, Cairo, and New Delhi. The good news is that overall livability has improved significantly, mostly because of higher scores on stability and safety around the world. These livability ratings are mostly useful to multinational corporations and governments. But if you're interested in a world that is increasingly interconnected, they open a fun and fascinating window into life around the globe.